The air smelled of fresh hibiscus flowers. The house was decorated with ribbons and lace. Ifeoma stood by the window, holding a small card that read, "Welcome to our love story, Ifeoma and Chuka." Her heart should have been full of joy, but instead, it felt heavy, like a stone dropped in a deep well. Only 3 days remained until their introduction ceremony. Family and friends had started to arrive from different towns. Her mother had begun cooking traditional soups, her father beamed with pride, and her younger siblings danced around in excitement. But inside Ifeoma, something felt off. That morning, she had gone to Chuka's apartment to drop off his native attire for the big day. The door was open. She smiled and walked in, only to stop in shock. There, on the couch, was Chuka. And beside him was another woman, half-dressed, laughing softly, her hands tangled in his. Ifeoma's voice caught in her throat. "Chuka," she managed to whisper. Chuka turned pale. The woman gasped and quickly covered herself. But the damage had been done. The truth was out, hanging in the air like smoke. "Ifeoma, it's not what it looks like," he started. But she didn't wait to hear the rest. Tears ran down her face as she turned and ran. Her slippers slapped the pavement as she fled. Her heart shattered into pieces. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her mother knocked softly, but Ifeoma said nothing. Her pillow was soaked with tears. The betrayal cut deep. Chuka, the man she trusted, the man she prayed for, had broken her heart. The next morning, she made her decision. "I'm not marrying him," she said calmly, standing in front of her stunned parents. "I won't go through with it." There was silence. Her father rubbed his chin. Her mother sat down, shaking her head. "Ifeoma, what happened?" "I saw it with my eyes, no," she said. "I cannot marry a man who cheats before we even begin." Her father sighed. "Then what do you want to do now?" She looked out the window, into the morning sky. "I want to leave. I want to start over. I'll go to Lagos." Her mother gasped. "Lagos? That city is too big, too dangerous." But Ifeoma had made up her mind. She needed to breathe. To heal. To find herself again. 2 weeks later, she packed a small suitcase, hugged her siblings, and boarded a bus headed for Lagos. Her heart still ached, but there was something new inside her too, hope. As the bus moved past hills and dusty roads, Ifeoma looked out the window. She didn't know what Lagos held for her. But she knew one thing, she would never settle for a love that made her cry. She whispered to herself, "This is not the end of my story." Lagos was nothing like home. The city was loud and fast. Horns blared. People shouted from every direction. Buses zoomed past, their yellow bodies packed with tired workers and hopeful traders. Tall buildings stretched into the sky, and the air smelled of roasted corn and hot engines. Ifeoma stood at the bus park in Ayoola with her small suitcase beside her. Her white blouse stuck to her back from sweat. Her eyes darted left and right, unsure of what to do next. She had no job, no close family in Lagos, only a friend, Amaka, who worked at a small salon in Ayoola. It was Amaka who had offered her a place to stay until she found her feet. As Ifeoma waited for a cab, her phone rang. "Ifeoma!" Amaka's voice was full of joy. "Where are you?" "I just arrived at Ayoola," she said, trying to hide the nervous shake in her voice. "Wait there. I'll send someone to come pick you. He's one of our regular cab guys. His name is Ayoola. He's kind. You can trust him." Minutes later, a black cab pulled up. The window rolled down. "Are you Ifeoma?" the driver asked. She looked up. He had a calm face, warm brown eyes, and a friendly smile. "Yes, I am. I'm Ayoola. Your friend sent me. Let me help you with your bag." As he opened the car door for her, Ifeoma gave him a small nod. Something about him made her feel safe. The ride through Lagos was bumpy, but peaceful. Ayoola didn't talk too much, but when he did, his voice was soft and steady. He pointed out places, Balagan Market, Third Mainland Bridge, National Theatre. "I came to Lagos to start over," Ifeoma said suddenly, surprising herself. He glanced at her through the rearview mirror. "It's a good place for new beginnings. But it can be tough." "I'm ready," she said, even though her heart was still sore. When they reached Amaka's apartment, Ayoola helped carry her things upstairs. "Thank you," she said, looking him in the eye. "You're welcome," he replied. "And Ifeoma, don't let the city scare you. You're stronger than you think." She smiled faintly. Over the next few weeks, Lagos became her teacher. Amaka introduced her to the salon owner, who allowed her to assist with braiding. It wasn't her dream job, but it gave her something to do. It kept her busy. It helped her breathe. And then there was Ayoola. Every few days, he would stop by. Sometimes to give her a ride. Sometimes to bring a mala and uidu soup from a place he said made the best in Surulere. Sometimes, they just sat and talked in the car, listening to the city hum around them. He made her laugh again. He didn't ask too many questions. He just listened. But behind his eyes, Ifeoma saw something quiet. Like he, too, was running from a past he didn't want to name. She didn't ask. Not yet. For now, she was just grateful. For Lagos. For Amaka. And for Ayoola, the cab driver who showed up when her heart had nowhere else to go. The rainy season came early in Lagos. Each morning, the skies would gather grey clouds like secrets waiting to fall. And when they finally did, the streets overflowed with water and life. Children played in the puddles, mothers rushed to cover their drying clothes, and taxis splashed mud as they sped by. Inside the small salon in Surulere, Ifeoma was learning fast. Her fingers, once soft and unsure, now moved confidently through strands of hair. She was quiet, hardworking, and never late. The madam liked her. But even with all the good days and the money she now earned, there were still nights when Ifeoma sat alone in the small room she shared with Amaka, staring at the ceiling. She would remember her father's compound. Her mother's smile. Her sister's loud laughter during evening meals. And, sometimes, she would remember Chuka. Not with longing. No. She didn't miss him. But the wound he left was deep, and some days it stung like fresh salt. On one of those rainy evenings, Ayoola showed up again. His car had parked outside the salon for almost 10 minutes before Ifeoma noticed. She waved him in from under the shade. "You'll catch cold," she shouted over the drumming rain. He ran across and stepped under the small canopy. Water dripped from his eyebrows, and his shirt clung to his chest. "I was hoping to take you somewhere," he said, catching his breath. "Where?" "You'll see." Ifeoma hesitated, then nodded. Amaka was closing up anyway. She grabbed her shawl and followed Ayoola to the car. The rain had slowed to a whisper as they drove through narrow roads and side streets. They passed yellow kiosks, muddy playgrounds, and old houses with iron roofs. Finally, they stopped at a small open field that overlooked the lagoon. "Why here?" she asked, stepping out. Ayoola walked to the edge and pointed. "Because it's quiet. And it's real. Lagos is always shouting. But here, you can hear yourself think." They sat on a concrete bench, the wet breeze brushing against their skin. For a long time, neither spoke. Then Ayoola turned to her. "Can I tell you a story?" Ifeoma nodded. "I once had a sister," he began. "Her name was Temi. She was the light in our house. Smart, kind, full of dreams. She wanted to become a doctor. But when I was in my final year at university, I made a mistake. I was in a hurry to make money, to become somebody. I got into business with people I shouldn't have trusted." He paused, the sadness in his voice thick as the mist. "One day, things went bad. Very bad. I had to run. I lost everything. My school, my records, even my home. But worst of all, Temi, she got caught up in it. She died trying to protect me." Ifeoma's hand slowly reached out, resting gently on his arm. "I've carried that pain with me," he whispered. "That's why I drive. That's why I stay quiet. I feel like I don't deserve joy. Or love." She looked at him for a long time. "But Ayoola, you helped me smile again. You were kind when you didn't need to be. That counts for something." He smiled, his first full smile since she'd known him. It was a smile that didn't just reach his lips, but stretched all the way to the scarred corners of his past. That night, he dropped her off in front of her apartment. Before she stepped out, she turned. "Ayoola?" "Yes." "Don't hide your smile. Not from me. He nodded, something warm in his eyes. Good night, Ifeoma. Good night, Ayoola. Inside the room, Amaka looked up from her phone. You two are beginning to look like husband and wife, she teased. Ifeoma laughed, but deep inside, something had changed. She no longer saw Ayoola as just a cab driver. He was a man who knew pain. A man who had seen loss. A man who, like her, was learning how to heal. And for the first time since she arrived in Lagos, she allowed herself to dream again. Not just about a job. Not just about survival. But about love. Real, honest love. And she wondered, could that love be with Ayoola? She wasn't sure yet. But she knew something beautiful had started to grow, slowly, like a flower after a long dry season. The days that followed were quiet but golden. Ayoola began to show up more often. Not just at the salon, but at the corner suya spot where Ifeoma loved to buy grilled meat, or at the church gate on Sunday afternoons, waiting with a bottle of cold water and that gentle smile that made her feel seen. Sometimes, they would walk together down the busy streets, dodging okadas and hawkers, sharing puff-puff from nylon bags, laughing at little things. Ifeoma began to laugh freely again. Her heart, once buried under betrayal and fear, began to rise. Amaka noticed it too. You are glowing, Ify, she said one evening, braiding someone's hair. Your face is brighter. Ayoola is good for you. Ifeoma smiled. He's just kind. Safe. I feel like I can breathe when he's around. But do you like him? Ifeoma hesitated. I don't know. Maybe. It's been a long time since I felt something real. That night, as she lay on her mattress, her heart wrestled with the idea of love again. Could she fall for someone who still carried scars? Could she trust herself after Chuka's betrayal? She thought about Ayoola's story. About his sister. About the pain he tried to hide behind his silence. He wasn't perfect, but neither was she. Maybe, just maybe, two broken hearts could still make something whole. But just as her heart was opening again, the past returned. It started with a message. A WhatsApp chat from an unknown number. Ifeoma. I need to see you. Please. She stared at it for a long time. The number wasn't saved, but her heart recognized the rhythm of those words. It was Chuka. She blocked the number. 2 days later, she found a note under the salon gate. I came to Lagos because I love you. We can fix this. I made a mistake. Don't throw us away. She tore it into pieces and threw it in the gutter. But it didn't stop. One evening, as she closed the salon and stepped out into the darkening street, she saw a figure leaning on a wall across the road. Her heart skipped. It was him. Chuka. Same strong build. Same confident smile. But something was different now. His eyes were darker. Too quiet. Too still. Ifeoma, he said softly, stepping forward. She froze. What are you doing here? She whispered. I came for you, he said. I couldn't let you go. Not like that. We were supposed to get married. You broke that promise, she replied, her voice shaking. It was one mistake. I've changed. Come back. I miss you. She stepped back. I'm not coming back, Chuka. I've moved on. His smile fell. Then, something cold passed through his eyes. You think you can just leave me? You think I'll let another man have what's mine? A chill crawled up her spine. You're not well, she said. Stay away from me. He didn't answer. Just stared at her, his jaw tight. She ran. She didn't stop until she reached home, gasping for breath. Amaka rushed to her side. What happened? He's here, Ifeoma whispered. Chuka is in Lagos. Amaka locked the door quickly. You need to tell Ayoola. The next morning, Ayoola came. She told him everything, from the messages to the note to the encounter. Ayoola sat quietly, then looked at her with firm eyes. You are not alone, Ifeoma. I'll protect you. But he's obsessed. I saw it in his eyes. He thinks I belong to him. You belong to no one, Ayoola said softly. You are not a prize. You are a woman with a heart. And anyone who can't respect that, doesn't deserve you. Ifeoma felt tears rise. Not out of fear this time. but because someone had said what she needed to hear all along. She was not broken. She was not weak. She was not someone to chase or claim. She was enough. Ayoola stood and reached for her hand. "We'll handle this. Together." And in that moment, with the shadows of her past chasing her and the future uncertain, Ifeoma knew one thing. This time, she wouldn't run alone. The days that followed were restless. Ifeoma moved carefully, checking every corner before she stepped out of the salon, always looking over her shoulder. Chuka had not shown up again, but his words haunted her. "You think I'll let another man have what's mine?" She knew obsession when she saw it. It was no longer about love. It was about control. About pride. And it was dangerous. Ayoola became her protector. He made sure to pick her up and drop her off each day. He never left without making sure she was safe. But Ifeoma noticed the worry behind his smile. Something was troubling him too. "Is everything okay?" she asked one night in the car as they parked in front of her apartment. Ayoola hesitated. Then he nodded. "Yes, just thinking. Always thinking." But she knew there was more. One night, after Amaka had gone to bed, Ifeoma sat in the dark and whispered a prayer. "Jehovah, please help me. I'm trying to be strong, but I'm afraid." The next morning, things felt calmer. She decided to go out early and buy foodstuff for the week. Ayoola wasn't available to drive her, so she used a tricycle. The sun was bright. Birds chirped. Lagos buzzed with life. But danger hides best in daylight. As she walked past an alley, a hand grabbed her from behind. She screamed. It was Chuka. He pulled her into the narrow space between two buildings, covering her mouth. "Sh! Stop shouting," he growled. Her heart pounded. She struggled, but his grip was strong. "You think you can run from me?" he hissed. "You think that driver can protect you?" His eyes were wild now. Unstable. Something had snapped. "I loved you," he spat. "I was ready to marry you, and you humiliated me. Do you know what people say now? That I was dumped like trash." He slammed his hand against the wall beside her. "You're mine, Ifeoma." "No, I'm not," she cried. "Let me go." She kicked, hit, and shouted. A woman walking nearby heard and screamed for help. Chuka panicked and ran off. By the time the police arrived, he was gone. Ayoola rushed to the scene moments later, breathless and furious. "I should have been there," he said, holding her close. "It's not your fault," she whispered, trembling. "He's not well. He needs help. But I need to be safe." That night, Ayoola insisted she stay at his place. His apartment was small but neat, books on the shelves, gospel music softly playing from the radio, a tiny potted plant by the window. "Do you live here alone?" she asked. "Yes. 4 years now." They sat in silence for a while. Then Ayoola stood and said, "There's something I need to tell you." She looked up. "When I lost my sister, I blamed myself so much that I stopped praying. I thought maybe God had turned his face from me. But meeting you reminded me of who I used to be. Of who I still want to be." Ifeoma's eyes welled with tears. "Ayoola," she said, her voice shaking, "you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest." He nodded. "Then I will be." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small photo. "This is Temi. My sister." She took it and stared at the smiling girl in the picture. "She looks like you." Ayoola smiled sadly. "She was the best part of me." "I think," Ifeoma said gently, "she would be proud of the man you are now." Later that night, as she lay on the extra mattress he gave her, she looked at the ceiling and breathed deeply. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was healing. Slowly. Carefully. With someone who saw her. Someone who stayed. But deep down, she knew one thing wasn't over yet. Chuka was still out there. And something told her, he would return. Only this time, she would not be caught off guard. A week passed. Life returned to normal, or at least, it pretended to. Ifeoma returned to work. Ayoola stayed close. The salon women whispered and watched her carefully, offering silent prayers and extra smiles. Even Amaka became more protective, always waiting at the gate when Ifeoma returned in the evening. But under the surface, there was fear. They didn't know where Chuka was. And neither did the police. Ifeoma, Ayoola said one night as they walked along the quiet street near his home, I want you to move forward. Without fear. I know it's not easy. But I'll do everything to make sure you're safe. She stopped walking and looked at him. The streetlights painted a soft glow on his face. What are we? She asked, her voice barely louder than the night breeze. He was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled softly. We are two people who found each other in the middle of pain, he said. But I want more. I want to be your peace. Your future. Her eyes welled up. Then let's build it, slowly. Carefully. They stood there for a long time, hand in hand. The next day, Ifeoma felt lighter. She laughed again while braiding a customer's hair. She hummed songs from childhood. Even Madam noticed. You're coming back to life, she said. I think I am, Ifeoma replied. But joy can sometimes call forth jealousy. That same evening, just as they were locking up the salon, a loud bang came from outside. Tires screeched. A car door slammed. It was Chuka. He stood by a black car, eyes wild, one hand behind his back. Ifeoma, he shouted. Amaka screamed. The other girls ran inside. Chuka stepped forward. You think you can leave me? For a common driver? For this city? Ifeoma stood still. Ayoola's car pulled up just then. He got out quickly. Step away from her, Chuka. Chuka laughed, but it wasn't joyful. Oh, the hero arrives, he spat. I'm warning you, Ayoola said, his voice calm but strong. This ends today. Suddenly, Chuka pulled something from behind his back, a bottle, half filled with liquid. Petrol. He pointed it at the salon. If I can't have peace, then nobody will. Before anyone could move, Ayoola rushed him. They struggled. The bottle fell. People screamed. But then, sirens. The police had come. Someone had called them earlier. Officers jumped out of the van and wrestled Chuka to the ground. He screamed and kicked, but it was over. Ifeoma collapsed into Ayoola's arms, shaking. You're safe now, he whispered. It's done. That night, she sat by Ayoola's window, watching the rain fall gently. The sky, once heavy with fear, felt clean again. I can't believe it's over, she whispered. It's over because you chose yourself, Ayoola said. You didn't go back. You didn't settle. She turned to him. I want to be happy, Ayoola. But not just with someone. I want to be happy by myself first. He nodded. Then I'll wait. I'll walk with you. Every step. The next morning, Ifeoma visited the police station and gave her full statement. Chuka would be charged. He would get help, but from far away, where he could no longer reach her. Back at the salon, the girls clapped and hugged her. Madam gave her a small raise. You've become a woman now, she said. Not because you fought, but because you healed. That weekend, Ayoola took her to a small beach on the edge of Lagos. They watched the waves together, quiet and calm. She picked up a small shell, placed it in his hand. For Temi, she said. He smiled. And for every piece of us we thought we lost. Then she turned to him. I'm not afraid anymore, she said. Neither of them spoke after that. They just sat together, listening to the wind and the waves. Two broken people. Two quiet hearts.
Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe for more amazing stories.